Today was, without a doubt, the most unlucky day that I've had so far in 2026, and here's exactly why that is. What we're looking at here is Bitcoin on a 1-minute time frame, and you can see the exact trades that I ended up taking. So again, they were both short trades, and I'll explain exactly why that is. The first one down here, and you can see a clear pattern between the two, right? I mean, have a look at this. We got just so close to my take profit down here, and then again, the rest is history, right? The same exact thing happened here. We got just so close to my take profit, and then the whole market just reversed. Now, to my surprise, right, I actually ended up closing today with a $6,600 profit, okay? And that's simply because of partials. Now, again, when you're in a trade that looks like this, you better take some partials, right? Because again, otherwise this would have been a break-even day, and that's arguably worse than a losing day sometimes, right? So let's break down exactly what happened here. And we're going to do so by going back in time. So we'll go back to right before I was filled here. And it all starts actually on the 1-hour time frame. As I mentioned in the last video, if you guys saw that one, we've pretty much been within a downtrending market on Bitcoin for quite a while here, but this one is a little bit different. It's very tight, right? We get all these random pullbacks, and they're very aggressive, and it's incredibly difficult to trade on an intraday basis. But I noticed a few patterns here. The first one being lower highs, right? And what does that mean? Well, very, very traditional downtrending market. We're printing highs, here, and now here, right? And they all have one thing in common. None of them went above one another, right? So every single high before the one we put in here, right, they did not go above one another. So it didn't look like this, right? So it was legitimately lower highs throughout the entire downtrend. And so when we put in this high, and when I started to see, displacement in the opposite direction, I immediately clocked it, and I said, okay, we're probably going to repeat what we've done, pretty much this entire week. And I'm really looking to take advantage of this. So my original thought when I came into the market this morning was actually to short it all the way up here as soon as this large bearish candle closed, and I was pretty much waiting for a fair value gap to be created. So this is an hourly time frame, so it took 3 hours, right? And so I was waiting for this, and then when this candle got opened up, I was pretty much hoping that we would visit this imbalance, and I was looking to short the market here, pretty much taking advantage of the same downtrend we've been in this entire week. But as you guys can see, this candle had other plans, right? It just dumped straight down towards this low here. And so that was a no-go. Pretty much no chance I was going to get filled here. And so I zoomed into a 1-minute time frame because I really just wanted to take advantage of this on this Friday, right? And that's exactly when I came up with this trade. Now there's, a few metrics involved here, so we'll break it down step by step. First of all, the optimal trade entry, which is actually not the optimal trade entry, it is the golden zone, as I'd like to call it. Let's delete it for now. So on a 1-minute time frame, right? If I come up here into my tool section and I grab my Fibonacci extension tool and I draw it from the high that was created right before the massive dump here, and then I switch my Fibonacci settings to the 71%. I get these two zones, right? And if you've been, watching the channel, you know that these two zones here, they're my babies. That's exactly what I like to take advantage of. I'd say 80% of my trades are done using these two zones here, okay? And so a lot of the time when you have a downtrending market like we do here, right, the pullback, which is what we're looking at here, is going to end within one of these two zones, and it's going to continue the downtrend, right? And it's exactly what I was betting on, in this very trade. And so that was the core thesis behind this trade. Now, another thing was the fact that this looked awfully a lot like a bear flag, right? So we do it like this, and we do it like this, right? And so this is just a very tightly packed pullback within a downtrending market, exactly like we had seen earlier in the day, that was followed by a massive crash of damn near 2%, right? And so I was pretty much expecting the exact same thing to happen. And if we now play out price here, you can see that, that was pretty much what happened until it wasn't, right? Because the market decided to establish a new trend line here right before my take profit, right? So that was just super unfortunate. But again, we can't really do much about it. Now, I know a lot of people in the Telegram group actually ended up taking this with me. And so I'm not the only one who was, this unlucky today. But it is what it is. Most people would have gotten liquidated here because they would have been so frustrated, that they didn't end up hitting their take profit. But luckily, that was not the case. So again, this trade ended up being a break-even trade. As you guys can see, of course, when I get this close to my take profit, I have to make sure that it's a risk-free play here. And if I now look at the RSI, there was actually one more metric involved here. So the RSI has a threshold of 50, in my opinion. And so anything above that is where you should consider selling. Anything below that is where you should consider buying. And I noticed a clear pattern within this downtrend that we've had today. Pretty much every single one of these pullbacks. I mean, have a look at this one here. On the RSI, it dipped, above 50, then continued the downtrend. This one here dipped above 50, continued the downtrend, and pretty much every other pullback, right? And so I was waiting for that exact same pattern. We dipped above 50, right into my Fibonacci extension tool zone, and I was just looking to short it, just like, that would have worked the entire day. And unfortunately, that was just not the case. We ended up going break even, and I thought that, okay, I'm pretty much done for this morning. My next point of interest, if I go out to an hourly time frame here again, is going to be all the way up here. So the 71 and the 79% up here. That's going to be my next point of interest. But again, I'm probably going to have to wait a while here because that's quite far away, right? So we're on a 5-minute time frame now. Now, to my surprise, right, because we had economic news here today, we had flash manufacturing PMI at 945, and we had new home sales at 10. A lot of volatility came with that, right? And so have a look at this. The market just exploded. Look at this here. There we go. It exploded to the upside, and I was immediately looking to take advantage of that, right? Because this was literally a zone that I was waiting for the entire day. I just figured that it would take a long time to get up there. But because of that, volatility, it pretty much happened instantaneously. And so I shorted it immediately as it hit this zone. And again, same exact story here. We got super close to the take profit, and then again, right back up to my break even. Now, luckily, I did take a partial here, which is also one of the reasons why I ended up closing today at, just north of $6,000 in profit. Now, again, I do literally share everything in my Telegram group, whether that's, trades within itself, market reports, whatever it might be, I share it all. And we also have traders, proven traders that have traded on stage and proved themselves with a professional track record that are in here as well. I mean, we just have a look at Samurai today, right? He hit a beautiful 58% play today. So again, if that's of any interest, well, then check out the link down below. And again, it's quite literally as simple as going down into the description of, this video or any other video, and then clicking one of the 2 links that you see right here. That was pretty much the entire day summed up. So again, it all stemmed from the higher time frame, looking to take advantage of that, disgusting downtrend that we've been in this entire week. And it was pretty much just pure unluck that this had to take place. Again, 90% of traders would have liquidated themselves here because do you know how frustrating it is? I'm sure a lot of you out there know, right? When you get this close to your take profit, I mean, it's just a perfect setup for revenge trading, right? And so we really have to look at this as a W day nonetheless, because again, we were not one of those people that blew up their entire account, and that could have very well been the case, right? Again, I ended up closing in a good profit for a lot of people, right? And then just because my mind is inflated when it comes to numbers, this is a lot of money, right? And so I didn't even hit my take profit, and I still ended up making quite a lot of money, right? And that's the beautiful part about being able to take partials at the right time. And actually, a lot of people ask me, hey, how do you know when to take partials? Apparently that's, a mega stopper for a lot of traders. And so if we take, this trade into consideration that I was in earlier, pretty much what I do is that I analyze the leg before that. So this one, right? So this, pullback within the market, I figure out exactly where within this leg, is there the highest chance that this is going to go against me? Right, and so in this case, in my opinion, that was the low that we're looking at here. Is pretty much the only swing low within this leg here. And so I said to myself, okay, if this is going to turn against me, well, then the highest, probability of that happening is again when it hits this low here. So that's exactly when I'm going to go break even. Right, and if we now go back in time here and we take a look at the other trade, this one, I didn't actually have anywhere in mind where I thought, okay, this can really be, a point of reversal here. So what I ended up doing was actually to go break even as soon as we had a retest of this trend line that we'd established here. And if I now pull out my optimal trade entry from the low all the way up to the high, and again, I switch it to the optimal trade entry. If you don't have the settings, they are right here. You can pause the video. The trend line was lining up quite well with the optimal trade entry. And so I thought to myself, okay, if we're going to reverse here, it's probably going to be somewhere around here because the first zone of the 3 literally aligns nearly perfectly with the trend line, right? So I said, okay, I'm going to go break even here. Not that I think it will stop it, but again, if anything is going to send us higher and make this entire trade go against me, it's probably going to be somewhere around here. And so that's what happened. Again, we continued continued right through it, and we had this very random reversal that pretty much nobody could have predicted, if you ask me. And again, that was it for today. Super duper unlucky, but again, you have to eat the bad part of the cake sometimes in order to reap the rewards. It's simply part of the game. Again, we cannot just keep winning and winning and winning. It would be lovely if that was the case, but again, then this would be a very, very easy industry, and I'd be a billionaire by now, and I'm not quite there yet. So thank you a lot for watching. Gentlemen, I will see you the next time I have something presentable to show you and something that you can learn, a thing or two from. So again, let me know in the comment section down below if these videos actually help you out, because again, I've been trading for damn near a decade at this point. And if I had to, pick out the content on YouTube that is literally the most valuable, it's raw content like this, where I just break down, my entire mind on video, breaking down trades pretty much live here. I mean, the format is just raw, so you really get an insight into how I read the market and just how I operate, right? And so in my opinion, this is just some of the most valuable content. So let me know down below if you want me to continue. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.